comes in and see them, right?
What do you say?
So zero is live now, but says 0 viewers.
Wait, hold on. Oh, someone is there. One is around. So I'm going to do. I'm going to have welcome.
Well, mine is showing 0 viewers.
If they can, we need to.
Two viewers, okay. Hello, good morning. Welcome to today's basic ticketing and reservation class. I'll be a facilitator for today. My name is Chinasa. It's good to have you here. We're still expecting a few other people, but we're going to start shortly. Thank you. Okay, so while we're waiting for others to join us, I'd like to quickly run through what we have for today. Basically, what we're just trying to do is introduce you to the course. Most times people call in and they're like, I don't know anything about this course. I'm not even sure if this is what I want to do. So we're trying to like open you up to see what the course is all about and tell you of the opportunities that are available and what you can do with this training and after you have acquired the skill. Okay, so feel free to ask your questions. I'm not here alone. I have my colleague with me, Tega. She's our digital media expert, so she'll also be assisting me. If you have any questions, whether as relating to the course itself or anything outside the course, please feel free to ask, and I would respond as the need arises. At least before the end of the session, I will respond. And then I have another colleague of mine that will also be joining us to take the practical aspects. So that will come in towards the end. So I'll be starting off with the theory. Once again, I would like to say welcome, and I assure you that the next few hours I'm going to spend here will not be a waste. Thank you. All right, so we're starting. I'll be sharing my slide with you from time to time, so my face will go off, but you will continue to hear my voice. And if you have questions, please feel free to type it in the chat box. I'll definitely respond to them. Okay, so let me show you our session objective for today. Okay, so okay, at the end of today's training, it is expected that you know what the phonetic alphabet is all about, and then also what they are. We don't call it, if you don't call it phonetic alphabet, you can also call it aviation alphabet. They mean the same thing. We'll also be learning how to encode and decode city and airport and country codes. Then we'll talk briefly about anatomy of a journey, what comprises a journey, what are the different parts that a journey comprises. And then finally, we'll do a little intro on IATA geography and global indicators. Emphasis on the little intro because it's actually a whole day's topic. So I'll just say a little bit about it and then continue in an actual physical class. All right, so let's go. What are these phonetic alphabets? These are things that we are familiar with, except in this situation now, we are making reference to aviation. What do I mean? I remember in your nursery primary school, you were taught A for apple, B for ball, and all that. So in the industry, this is how we communicate. We do Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, down to Zulu. Okay, it's very easy. So hardly would you hear people say A, B, C. No, you hear things like Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, Hotel, India, Juliet, Kilo, Lima, Mike, November, Oscar, Papa, Quebec, Romeo, Sierra, Tango, Uniform, Victor, Whiskey, X-Ray, Yankee, and Zulu. And it's not difficult anyway. It's very easy to learn. You can start by spelling your own first name using the phonetic alphabet. For instance, my name is Chinasa. So if I were to spell my name phonetically, that would be Charlie Hotel India Nancy or November Alpha Sierra Alpha. Can anyone spell their name? Who is in the who wants to spell their name phonetically? I'm sure you can see my screen. Tega would be Tango, Echo, Golf, Alpha. So who is there? What's your name? Can I get to spell your name in the chat box? Let's know who is with us. Nobody is volunteering. It's important that we learn how to do this. I mean, even if you don't get anything else today, you should be able to sleep tonight knowing that you've learned how to use the phonetic alphabets. So it's good to try. Just try it. Try any name. That's how you get to learn the A to Z. Not by cramming. It's by using it to spell your name, your surname, your middle name, your favorite food, your school, your streets. And before you know it, you know all the 26 alphabets at the tip of your fingers. For instance, I spelled something that is very important to me, which is Lagos Aviation Academy, as you can see. Should we continue? Please, if you're there, I need you to respond. I need to know that somebody is with me and I'm not just talking to myself. Okay, all right, so we continue. So that's that for phonetic alphabets. The next thing we want to talk about now is three-letter city and airport codes. So basically everything we do in this industry has a codified way of being referred to. Like we enjoy speaking in codes. It's easier, it's faster, it's shorter, you make less mistakes. So in that same way, all the cities and all the airports in the world have codes. They were formulated by IATA, International Air Transport Association, as a professional way of reaching out or identifying cities and airports around the world. Okay, so we're going to learn how to encode and decode. What do we mean by encode? Okay, so like I said, why do we have these codes? Number one, say need by aviation professionals to have a shorthand way of referring to cities and airports across the world. Okay, just a very shorthand way. Instead of typing Lagos, for instance, there should be a shorthand way of typing Lagos. You don't have to type Lagos. Instead of typing Port Harcourt, how can we refer to Port Harcourt without necessarily spelling that long name? Okay, so the same thing all over the world. So that's why we use codes in this industry. At the airports, cities, everywhere we want to refer to, there are codes representing cities and airports. Another reason, so they are used when making reservations and writing tickets. Codes are important, especially when you come into the industry and maybe you're working as a ticketing agent or even as a baggage handler. You need to tag people's bags so that you can load them appropriately in the right aircraft, because sometimes we've had issues of people collecting people's bags and checking them into another flight, maybe because they don't know, they couldn't interpret the code properly. So you have issues like that, but with codes helps you simplify everything. It just simplifies everything for you, and you don't have to start writing long stories. If you've ever traveled before, especially on an international trip, if you take a look at your tag, the tag they place on your bags, you would see that the city names are not written in full. There are usually three-letter codes that they put there showing the origin and the destination. So Even if tomorrow the flight takes off without your baggage, as far as that tag is there, they will definitely find a way to bring it to the destination of where it's supposed to be. That's the way it is. Not that you'll be in Lagos and then your bag will be hanging in Abuja. No. Then, okay, also used on luggage tags to assist baggage handlers at airports with placement of luggage on the correct flights, like I said. So these are the reasons for the codes, referring to cities and airports using codes, and also countries as well. All right, so let's talk about encoding. You know, remember we said encoding and decoding. Encoding means you have a city name and you want to refer to get the code for that city. As you can see the examples I have here, Accra. They say, okay, put Accra in a coded format. What's the city code for Accra? And so we have ACC. What's the country code? GH. What's the country name? Ghana. In what area? Area 2. I will come back to this area much later when I'm talking about IATA geography areas. So, but just note that there's something called area. We have area 1, area 2, and area 3. So I'll come back to that later. So I hope you understand what I just explained. When they say encode a city, that means they are giving you a name and they're asking you to put it in the code. Like we have Accra, we have London, we have Dublin, we have New York City, Casablanca, Sydney, Mumbai. Same goes for cities all over the world. Every city has a 3-letter code representation. It must be 3 letters, not 2, not 4, not 5, not 20, but 3. It must be 3. And it's quite easy to understand and to decode or to encode anyway. Most of them are pretty straightforward. How do I mean? The first 3 alphabets in their name automatically represents their code. For instance, you have this Accra, and you can see the city code is ACC. London will be the same too. London, city code for London is LON. Dublin would also be DUB, Dublin. So for most cities, the first 3 alphabets, emphasis on most, not all, because there are some that are different. The first 3 alphabets in a city represents the what? The code for that city name. Now, what about cities that have multiple names? For instance, New York City. So in situations like this, the first alphabet of each of the words, the first alphabet of each of the words is the city code. So New York City would be NYC. There's other cities like that too. Prince Edward Island, PEI. Okay? So the other examples continue. Casablanca, CAS. Sydney, SYD. Okay? I hope you're taking notes. So most of them are very, very easy to learn. It's not difficult. But some of them are not so straightforward, like I said. For instance, look at example 7, Mumbai. I'm sure most of you will think that the code for Mumbai is MUM, that's mom, at all. Mike, uniform Mike, not at all. Mumbai was formerly known as Bombay, and so got its city code from that former name. So the city code for Mumbai is BOM, fashioned after its old name, Bombay. So some cities are also like that. They've changed their name, but still maintain the codes they had before their names were changed. Some others too are not so straightforward as well. For instance, Dakar. Dakar would be DKR. So sometimes it just picks the first alphabet, a middle alphabet, and the last alphabet and forms a code. But like I said, these things are not difficult. It's something that you practice and then with time you get used to. So after the training, at least I know that before the end of the actual training, You should know at least 100 cities at the tip of your fingers without you needing to check any source. However, when you get into the industry proper, there are tools that will be provided for you that you can use to make reference, to check, pending when you become a guru. You know, like I said, it's with practice. By the time you check one city over and over again, there will come a time when you wouldn't need to check any source again for it. The city comes and it quickly goes, just like that. So also for decoding. In this case now, decoding is they have given you a code and they say decode it. That is, tell me the full meaning of this code. So a city code will be DEL. And its full meaning will be what? Delhi. That's the city name. So you're giving a code and I say, decode this. I don't understand this code. Give me this in full meaning. Give me the full meaning of this. So an example, the first example you see there is Delhi. Delhi, DEL, in country code IN, country name India, and it's located in area 3. Can anyone guess what MEL is? Anybody? Or even any of the 7, from 2 to 7. Can anybody guess? MEL, JED, ATL, BOS, DXB, LOS. Can anybody guess any? Let's see if you're able to catch up. Thank you. These are very simple examples. At least from my explanations, by now you know some of them, if not all. So MEL will be Melbourne. I ask questions a lot too because I particularly like my class being interactive. Okay, it makes me know that people are understanding what I'm saying, if I'm communicating and all that. Okay, Jeddah. Number 4 would be Atlanta. Number 5 would be Boston. Number 6 would be Dubai. And number 7 would be Lagos. Now, some people usually wonder, how are we expected to know all these codes? Do we cram it? And so on and so forth. Okay, like my screen says currently, they said there's no need to cram, it's easy. You will be provided with what? Extracts. Let me show you an example of what I mean by extracts. So I'm going to stop sharing the slide now. So this is what I mean by extracts. Extract is a reference material that's like a dictionary for us in this industry. So anything you want to make reference, anything you want to search for, it's easy for you to find. How do I mean? I talked about encoding cities. And we said, oh, you have a city called Accra. And they said, what's the code for that city? You just come to your extract where it says IATA city names encode. Cities have been listed out alphabetically, so it's easier. If you know how to use a dictionary, you should know how to use this. It's very easy. So you look for Accra. I can see Accra here. You trace it, it gives you the country code. You trace it further down, it gives you the city code, which is what? ACC. That's for encoding a city. If you want to decode, remember the first example there is DEL, Delhi. So you turn to your book, to where you have decode. All right, so this is the end of encode. This is the beginning of decode. IATA, city names, decode. Again, codes are listed out alphabetically. So it's just left for you to go and look for the code you're looking for, and then you see them decode it. If I look for ACC, which is the closest one here, ACC, I trace it, gives me Accra. Accra country code gives me GH. Okay, we said DEL. Okay, this page is ABC. So if I'm looking for D, okay, I come here. So that way I trace it, I find my DEL, okay? That's Delhi, country code IN. Okay, this just gives you the country code. Now, for you to know what IN stands for, there's another page called country codes at the end. It's just a page listing out the codes for all the countries. So take notes that country codes are 2, while city codes are 3. Okay? So this is it. Country codes. So I want to look for IN. Again, I trace alphabetically. I come here, and this is IN. IN is what? India, and India is in what? Area 3. So that's how you check. It's very easy. And by the time you start the practical aspects, it will show you codes you can use to check on the system. So you don't even need to carry books around. But just for theory's sake, for classroom sake, you need to make reference to that material for a start. And like I said, the more you do, the better you get at it, and the easier it is for you to remember. And before you know it, you can be reeling out all the major cities in the world with their codes, and it wouldn't be an issue for you, because you know, not only will you know the city name in full, you know the country where it is located, and what part of the world you can find that country, maybe in North America, Middle East, Asia, South America, Europe, Africa, and so on. Okay? All right, any question on coding and decoding? We're moving forward. I see some people still just joined us. Are there any questions? Okay, please feel free to ask. I know some of you joined after we started. Don't be shy, okay? It's an online class, and I have the time to attend to your questions today. So if there's anything I'm saying you don't understand, please feel free to ask your questions, and I'll surely attend to them, okay? Like I said, I want the class to be as interactive as possible, so that I know that I'm not talking to myself. I need to know that I'm communicating, that I'm passing across at least something vital, okay? Let it not be that we gathered here this morning and then just to kill time. I am not a time killer. I value time, and I believe that by just tuning into this, that you should be able to get something out of this. Okay, so to take you back, I said we started with phonetic alphabets or aviation alphabets. We ran through that and spelled our names with that. They're very easy. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, down to Zulu. Then we have, we went to city, 3-letter city, and airport codes. That is after talking about why the codes are important. Okay. Then from there, we'll move to the next one, which is anatomy of a journey. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, my slides now. Okay, anatomy of a journey. Anatomy simply means parts. For some people that have gone to the university, I'm sure you can remember I'm sure you can remember a course in the school called I think I'm doing something wrong. I think I'm doing something wrong. Just come. Share my screen. This is a screen share. Okay. Don't show him before. The way now. Okay.
Want to link it?
Mm-hmm. Share to everyone. Okay. Can you see? Okay, so we're done with encoding and decoding. So like I said, it's easy. Just make reference to your material. All right, so we said anatomy of a journey. Okay, and I was talking about people who studied anatomy in school, or at least must have heard about that word, anatomy. Okay, just that in school, what we studied was different parts of the body, the different systems and all that. So this time around, we're talking about anatomy of a journey, the different parts that comprises a journey. What makes something a journey? How are you able to say, oh, this is a journey, the passenger is traveling, and so on and so forth? So first of all, we're identifying the different components of that journey and explaining what each one means. Okay, for instance, the first one is journey. Journey simply means a complete itinerary. If a passenger is going from point A to point 100, that's a journey. So every place, every destination a passenger is visiting is referred to as a journey. This is an example. This passenger is traveling from Dublin to London. From London, he will go to Bangkok, and then from Bangkok to Sydney. So every city, if you're going from Lagos to Abuja, to Accra, to Dakar, to Cape Town, to London, back to Lagos, that's a journey. That's a complete itinerary. That's an example. Another component is origin. Okay, you really hear people use this a lot. Where is the journey originating from? It simply means, where is this journey starting from? Okay, the initial starting point of a journey as shown on the what? Ticket. And is usually the COC. COC means country of commencement. So that's what that means. The initial starting point of a journey as shown on the ticket, and is usually the what? The COC. where is the journey originating from? Okay, in this case, this is what this journey, this example, you have a Dublin, London, Bangkok, Sydney. It means that the origin of this journey is Dublin. Where is Dublin? Dublin is in Ireland. Ireland is the country of commencement of travel. Dublin is the city. Just like when you say your journey is commencing from Nigeria. No, it's vague. Your journey can commence from a city. So you can say my journey is commencing from Lagos. Okay, where is Lagos? Lagos is where in Nigeria. So Nigeria is the country of commencement of travel. However, the city is the what origin. Another component you have is destination. Everything that has a beginning must have an end. Okay, so if you go out, that's the way the journey is starting from is origin. Wherever the journey ends, that's the destination. Says the ultimate or final stopping place of the journey as shown on the tickets. So in this case, in this particular example, Sydney would be the what? Destination. Dublin, the origin, Sydney, the destination. It's very simple, okay? There are so many, but I just picked 6 for the purpose of this online class. Okay, then we have another anatomy called sector or segment. It says it is a portion of a journey between boarding and disembarkation points. Let me take you back still to this example I have here. Sector, segment, is talking about every time you board and every time you disembark. That's a segment. I leave from Lagos, I go to Abuja, that's segment 1. I continue from Abuja to Port Harcourt, segment 2 or sector 2. From Port Harcourt back to Lagos, that's sector 3. So in this case, this particular example, the first sector is Dublin to London. A sector must have at the point of boarding and the point of embarkation. So the first sector here is Dublin, London. The second sector is London to Bangkok, while the third sector is Bangkok to Sydney. If the passenger continued Sydney to maybe Melbourne, that would be another sector. So it's about a portion of the journey between boarding and what? Disembarkation points. Boarding is when you check in. It's an embarkation is when you get to your destination and you come out of an airplane. Okay? Then you have ticketed points. Ticketed points, say the different cities shown in a ticket refers to all the cities that will appear on the passenger's ticket. Those are ticketed points. Okay, for instance, you could be asked, how many ticketed points are in this journey? This example that has Dublin, London, Bangkok, Sydney. Can anybody answer? Based on the explanation. We said all the cities that are shown on the ticket. If you're a passenger and you're embarking on this journey, these are the points that will show on your ticket. Otherwise, you won't be checked in. So at Dublin, you check in with your ticket that says you're going to London. When you get to London again, you disembark, and when you want to continue on your journey, you have to check in again, and it will take you to Bangkok, and it continues until you finish all the sectors or all the cities on the particular journey. So my question now is, this example, Dublin, London, Bangkok, Sydney, how many ticketed points are in that journey or in that itinerary? How many ticketed points? Okay, it's actually 4. So because like I said, it's all the cities that will show on your tickets. If any of this city does not show on your ticket, it means you can't travel to that destination with your tickets. So for you to be honored or to be checked in at London, it must show on your ticket. For you to check in at Bangkok, it must show on your ticket, okay? So though the segment or the sector is 3, the ticketed point is actually 4. What do I mean? Remember I said a sector is a portion of your journey between boarding and disembarking. So you board at Dublin, you disembark at London, that's sector 1. You board again at London, you disembark at Bangkok, that's sector 2. Then you board at Bangkok and disembark at Sydney. That's sector 3. So it takes 2 cities to make a sector or a segment. All right, so then the ticketed points are, they said they are refers to the different cities as shown on a ticket. It must, all the cities that are showing on the ticket, those are the ticketed points. Points the passenger is going to, will be visiting. So in this case, it's 4: Dublin, London, Bangkok, and Sydney. For every point that shows up on your ticket, it's referred to as a ticketed point. But thanks for trying anyway. Thank you for trying. Then you have what we call intermediate points or transfer points. Remember how we defined a journey, okay? And we said the journey is a complete itinerary. And then we identified the origin. We said Dublin is the origin. And we said destination, Sydney is the destination. So then how do we identify London and Bangkok? That is where transfer point comes in. Transfer point simply means the points between the origin and the destination. Every journey, we said, must have an origin and a destination. So the first city is the origin, while the last city is the destination. So if Dublin is the origin and Sydney is the destination, that leaves us with London and Bangkok, because, and then those are what the intermediate points, intermediate cities between origin and what destination. So in this case, that would be London and Bangkok. So if you're given a journey and you're told, identify the origin, just look at the first city, that's the origin. Identify the destination, the last city, that's your destination. Identify the intermediate points. You look at the city, what are the cities in between the origin and the destination? That gives you the words intermediate points. Now, these intermediate points, or otherwise referred to as transfer points, are of 2 types. You have an intermediate stopover point and an intermediate non-stopover point. What's the difference between the 2? A stopover point is a place that is pre-planned, that the passenger really has something to do and plans to stop there. I have a business there, it's deliberate, I want to go to London and spend 3-4 days. Okay, the way we define it is a place where a passenger arrives and spends more than 24 hours. And spends more than 24 hours. So that means it's no longer a connecting point. You really want to go there, that's why you're going there. Okay, then you have the non-stopover point. A non-stopover point is a point where the passenger necessarily does not have anything to do in that city, but due to some restrictions, he has to pass that city. How do I mean? We can also call a non-stopover point a connecting point. For instance, you want to go to London from Lagos and you want to fly Emirates. Emirates can never take you straight from Lagos to London. No, they must touch down at where? Dubai. So in that case, Dubai is serving as your connecting point. All you're doing is you get to Dubai, you come down from the aircraft and join another aircraft that will now take you to your destination, which is London. So you don't have any business in Dubai. You did not plan to stop there. Unfortunately or fortunately, because of the airline, I'm giving an example, maybe because of the airline you're flying, they have to pass through somewhere. Like the example I gave, there's no way Emirates will take you straight from Lagos to London. No, they must go and touch down at their origin country, which is Dubai, UAE. So from there, you come down, you enter another flight and you continue. So Dubai is serving as your what? Connecting point. And so for in theory aspects, how we represent the connecting point is an X and a slash. I'm sure you may have been wondering, how come Bangkok has an X and a slash? I mean, after all, I told you city codes must be 3 and not more than 3 or not less than 3. DUB is 3, London is 3, Sydney is 3. How come Bangkok has an X and a slash? So that's the signal for, that's the sign for a connecting point. You can see that that X and a slash is not in front of London. So that means London is a stopover point. It is a deliberate stop. The passenger is going there either for business or for leisure or for something. But Bangkok, on the other hand, the passenger is not really going to Bangkok. but is connecting through Bangkok to get to the destination, which is Sydney. Any questions so far? Okay. Please, any question? The ticketed points, is it clear? Is it still confusing? What don't you agree with? We can dwell on it a little before we continue. If we are good to go, then we can continue. Okay, the journey comprises of so many other parts. So we just picked a few for this class. We just picked 6. There are about 10 to 12 other parts. When you talk about fare components, pricing units, fare breakpoints, points of turnaround, and all that. So many others, okay? Some others. So these are majorly the basics, because every journey must have an origin, must have a destination, and all that, okay? So we continue. All right, so having talked about journey and what a journey is, the next thing you need to know is that there are 2 types of journey in this industry. I'm sure it's not strange to you. When you hear it, you know that it's something you're familiar with. We have the one-way journey and the return journey. We have the one-way journey and the return journey. Lagosians are very familiar with one-way, because if you are driving in this town, that's a sure way of last mile exploiting you if you mistakenly enter a road that is one way. It's very similar to that. When you see a road and they say this road is one way, it means this passenger is only allowed to go in one direction. If cars can't go in both directions. You're going in one way. If it's only one way, this is only one-way traffic. So for us here, a one-way journey, as you can see, passenger is moving from point A to point B. That's all. We'll still talk about the features of a one-way journey and explain the differences between a one-way journey and a return journey. A return journey, on the other hand, as the name implies, means passenger is traveling out and still what's coming back. Example, it's going from point A to point B, back to where? Point A. So it's returning. So when you're buying a ticket for someone and says, buy me ticket Lagos, London, that's a one-way ticket. But if he says Lagos, London, back to Lagos, that's a return ticket. You're coming back. So one way means you're just traveling, you're not coming back to where you took off from, whereas return is you are going to come back to that country of embarkation. Let's look at the features of a one-way journey. Features of a one-way journey. So the one-way journey is priced from the point of origin to the point of destination using one-way fares. You see where those terminologies are coming in. We've explained what origin is and we've explained what destination is. So a one-way journey is priced from the point of origin to the point of what? Destination using one-way fares. What do they mean? If your passenger is, or if you want to travel and you're going from Lagos to London, they must get you the fare for Lagos to London. It is not the same as London to Lagos, no. So it is priced in the way you are traveling, origin to destination. My origin, where is it? Lagos. Where am I going to? London. So they must check the fare for Lagos to London. You cannot say, hey, it should be the same thing now, so check London, Lagos. No, the rules are different. The fares are also different. It's not the same. Okay, so a one-way journey is priced from the point of origin to the point of destination using one-way fares. What other feature does it have? So the origin and the destination are in different countries. As the name implies, as it implies, one way. You're going from point A to point B, you're not coming back. So that's why the first city and the last city will always be in different countries. For instance, you have Ottawa. YOW is the city code for Ottawa. So this passenger is originating from Ottawa and is ending it in where? Dubai. Those are different cities, different countries. So it's a one-way direction. Another feature it has, it said the fare for the journey is applied in the direction of what? Travel, like I just explained. You can't say, give me Dubai to Ottawa. No. This passenger is traveling from Ottawa to Dubai, so that's how you must check the fare. It must follow that way. You can't change it. Travel from Ottawa to where? Dubai. These are features of a one-way journey. I hope I'm not moving too fast. I hope I'm not moving too fast. So let's talk about features of a return journey. A return journey is travel from a point of origin to point of turnaround and back to the point of origin. A return journey is travel from a point of origin to point of turnaround and back to the point of origin. So one thing we should know is that the first city and the last city are in the same country. So the point of origin and the point of final destination are the same. Like the example I gave you, Lagos, London, Lagos. So Lagos is the origin, Lagos is still the final destination because they're coming back. Okay? And then finally, it says a return journey has two fare components. It means it has two parts, the outbound and the inbound. What do we mean by outbound? The outbound portion is when you're going out, whereas the inbound portion is when you're coming back. So every return journey must have outbound and what? Inbound. These are features of a return journey. It does not change. For as long as it is a return journey, it must have outbound, it must have inbound. That's what makes it return, unlike a one-way. Again, for a return journey, the origin and the destination are in the same country. Any question? Because I have questions for you. Ask me before I ask you. All right, so someone wants to know if this class can make her a travel agent or make the person able to book. Unfortunately, the answer is no. Okay, so like I explained at the beginning, so let me take you through what I said. What are we trying to do? Sometimes people call in and they're like, they don't understand what this course is all about. That's one. Number two, people are not aware of what they can do. You know, everybody wants to work in a bank. Everybody wants to work in an oil company. But there are other areas where you can learn skills and still do well in life. And this is one of such areas. I'm yet to see a skilled person who is hungry. That's the truth. If you know how to do something, if you have a skill, I mean, let's even go local. It's difficult seeing a tailor that is hungry. In fact, all they do is disappoint people and do like we say, shakara. When they are hungry, they pick up their cloth again and start sewing. They look for a customer that is owing them and then go and get their money. My point is, if you have a skill, the opportunities are there for you. So what this course is doing for you is to help you learn that skill. So not this online course. There's an actual physical offline course that takes about 10 days. There in that class, things are dealt with in depth. You get to learn more about the industry. It's a very technical industry, I must confess, but the people there don't have two heads. So it's about training. When you learn, you practice, you do. And like I said, once this is something that once you know how to do, you would not look for a job because they're always looking for people who have these skills. They're always looking for, this is always the first thing. So that's why we have designed a package that enables you to engage in something like an industrial attachment, because classroom training is not enough. It's just like when we go to universities and they give us certificates. Meanwhile, when they throw us into the field, throw us out in the field, we won't be able to know the difference between benzene and hydrogen peroxide, if you get what I'm trying to say. So that's why after the training, we say, okay, go do IT. What does IT do for you? In IT, throughout your period, you have a system. You're being taught how to do these reservations. By the time you keep doing it and doing it, I mean, no matter how, if you're someone that is very serious, I believe that within a month you should learn. So, but we still give 1 to 3 months so that you'd have perfected your skills and know other background things you need to know about the business. And with that, I can assure you that getting a job will not be difficult. People who don't get jobs are people who don't know how to utilize the skill. So it's not enough to say, I am going to class or I have gone to class for training. No, you must be able to apply whatever knowledge you have. So this online class is just showing you, it's like a teaser, showing you what the course is all about and what you stand to learn when you attend the full training. Okay, and to also answer your questions you may have in general, whether regarding the course or the aviation industry or the travel industry as a whole in Nigeria. Okay, very soon my time will be up and I would entertain questions. I would focus more on answering questions as regards anything. Nothing is off limits. Don't be shy. People are learning from it. Okay, so this class cannot make you a travel agent. No. This class is supposed to make you understand what travel agency it's all about, what ticketing and reservation is all about. So if you are interested, then you can go further in knowing more. I mean, it's free of charge. It has no cost. It is at no cost. Unlike somebody who goes to register and then after meeting the challenges of day one, they're like, no, this is not what I expected. This is not what I signed for. Sorry. By that time, it will be too late because you have paid. So, but this gives you an idea. Okay, should I go on? Should I not? And so on. Okay. So I think I've answered that question enough. So I said, any other question before I ask you my own quiz time? Time out. Like I said, I just want it to be interactive so that I know that you understand what I'm saying. Okay. So my first question is very simple. I just have 3 questions. My first question is, what type of journey is this? I may give out a recharge card to the first person who is able to answer correctly. What type of journey is this? This is a journey from Paramaribo to Curacao to Miami to Toronto. Any answer? What type of journey is this? ₦500 recharge card going. I gave you options. Is it a return journey or a one-way journey or a halfway journey? You choose. It's very simple. My recharge card is going. If I answer it, I will recharge my own phone. Nobody? Okay, so let's see what the option says. What type of journey is this? Is this a return journey, or is it a one-way journey, or is it a halfway journey? Whatever that means. Still no response. No response. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and answer it and pocket my recharge card. Thank you for not eating it. Okay, so the first option says it is what? Incorrect. The last option says it is also incorrect. So that leaves us with what? One way. One way is correct. Okay, sorry. We've just seen my expo. So one way is what? Correct. Remember, I said a one-way journey, the origin and the destination are what? Different. This is Paramaribo and this is Toronto. You may not necessarily know the full meaning, but the codes are just there to tell you that, hey, these cities are different. So for as long as the cities are different, then it is what? A one-way journey. For as long as the cities are different and they belong to different countries, then it is a one-way journey. I have another question 2, but nothing for this one. This is Paris, Montreal to Paris. The question still says, what type of journey is this? What type of journey is this? Okay. Is it a halfway journey? No. Is it a one-way journey? No. Is it a return journey? Of course. The journey started from Paris, went to Montreal, and came back to Paris. So that's the feature of a return journey. Outbound, Paris to Montreal. Inbound, Montreal to back to where? Paris. Then the third question is, complete the following. For people who were there, who joined us from the very beginning, you remember that we talked about the aviation alphabets from Alpha to Zulu. So the question is, complete the following. Anybody who is able to get the M to S correctly also stands a chance to win a prize. Come on, people, try. What does M stand for? What does A stand for? What about D, E, and U, and S? What does it stand for? Anybody? I'm asking Tega to type it in, meaning that I'm going to keep my money to myself. Going, gone. Complete the following phonetic alphabets. So that's Alpha Mike, Alpha, Delta, Echo, Uniform, Sierra. Okay, so this is the last leg for today's session. IATA Geography Areas and Global Indicator. We need to be familiar with the world we live in. So that when people ask you questions, it doesn't necessarily mean that you ought to have visited all of them, all the cities to know. You should be able to say, oh, Nigeria is in Africa. Oh, America is in North America. Or Canada is in North America. Oh, where can I find Brazil? Brazil is in South America. Where is United Kingdom? Is in Europe. Where is Australia? Where is Melbourne? Is in Australia. And in Australia is somewhere in Asia. Where is China? Oh, where is Russia? These cities, these countries are in Asia. So it's about a general geography knowledge. That's one. Then you have global indicators. Global indicators simply refers to the way a passenger is traveling. Like the Englishman would say, the routes, R-O-U-T-E. How is a passenger traveling from point A to point B? That's the global indicator. Let me explain. Okay, so I'm in Ikeja now, and I want to get to the island. The constant is that I'm in Ikeja, and that my destination is where I'm going to the island. Now, how I travel from Ikeja to island will vary. Why? Because there are so many options. I can choose to go through Ojota Third Mainland Bridge and I hit island. I can also choose to go through town planning, Bagada Expressway, and I hit it. I can still go all the way down to Dwelegba, Costain, and still somehow connect to the island. So these various routes is what we call in this industry global indicator. If somebody is traveling from point A to point B, how are they traveling? Okay. So here is a screenshot of the map of the world. You have with sub areas. Okay, this is where what I said earlier comes into play. When we were decoding, remember we highlighted area 2, area 3, and so on. This is it now. So this is like a screenshot of what we have, and with their different sub areas. For instance, you have North America, you have the Caribbean, you have the Central America, and you have South America. Then you have Europe, you have Middle East, you have Africa, and then you have the whole of Asia, and then you have what? Australia. According to IATA, IATA divided the world into 3 areas. Why? For traffic conference purposes. What do we mean by traffic? For fair construction purposes. For us to be able to arrive at a fair price, they divided the world into 3 and said this is area 1, this is area 2, and this is area 3. So different sub-areas belong to different areas. What do we mean? This is it, according to IATA. Okay, so look at it from 1, 2, 3. So in area 1, you have sub-areas like South America, North America, Caribbean, and then Central America. Area 2 has Europe, Africa, and Middle East, as you can see. You can see Europe written boldly. You can see Africa written boldly. And then this darkened part is Middle East. Then you go to area 3, you have Asia. And then you have Australia and other surrounding countries. Now, after area 3, you can see the Pacific Ocean. And you can see number 3 again at the beginning. What does that tell you? We all know that the world is not flat. It's spherical. So this is like one part of the world joining with the other part. So it's round, making it a circle. Okay? So we have the Pacific Ocean. We have the Atlantic Ocean. This is the Atlantic Ocean. It's between area 1 and area 2. Atlantic Ocean is between area 1 and area 2, as you can see. The Indian Ocean is between area 2 and 3. And then you have the Pacific Ocean between 3 and 1. You can see Pacific Ocean here. So in this industry, for this particular purpose, we actually only recognize only two oceans, the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. Those are the two major oceans, and we'll be making reference to them as we continue. Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. One of the things this course does to you is that before the end of the training, you become familiar with these sub-areas and the different countries you can find there. For instance, I can tell you a few countries you can find in Europe, in Africa, in South America, in North America, Australia, in Asia, and so on and so forth. So this is the world according to IATA's division. Area 1, Area 2, and Area 3. This is it again. This time around, this one has different countries. Okay, you've seen Area 1. What are those that make up, which countries make up Area 1? Remember in this previous one, what you saw is sub-area, North America, South America. So you now want to know, what are those countries that make up North America? That's what you see here. You have Canada, you have USA, and you have Mexico. Many people think Mexico is in South America, but it is actually in North America. Remember, they share borders with US, and that's why Trump has been saying he wants to build a wall, okay, that they will pay for. So in North America, you have Canada, USA, and Mexico. Then in South America, this one, the maps are also very easy to identify. All of them have distinct shapes. For instance, I know that this one that has something like a little tail, anytime I see it, I know it's North America. Sorry, I know it's South America. Okay. Then you have South America. What are the countries in South America? That's where you find countries like Brazil, Peru, Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, Paraguay, Venezuela, and so on and so forth. Then you talk about another sub-area called Central America. That's where you have the likes of Costa Rica, El Salvador, Panama, and all that. Then you have the Caribbean area. Caribbean is where you have the likes of Kingston, that's Jamaica, Cuba, and so on, okay? So these are the different countries we have in Area 1. Let me run through this again. I said IATA divided the world into 3 areas, Area 1, Area 2, and Area 3. Now, in each of these areas, you have North America, you have sub-areas. So each area has sub-areas. For instance, in Area 1 has 4 sub-areas, which is North America, South America, Central America, and Caribbean. Area 2 has 3 major sub-areas, Europe, Africa, and Middle East. And Area 3 has Asia. Now, Asia is now divided into Southeast Asia, South Asia subcontinent, Japan, Korea, and Southwest Pacific. What are the countries you can find in Southeast Asia? Where you have Russia, China, Thailand, Philippines, and so on. That's Southeast Asia. South Asian subcontinent, you have the likes of Afghanistan, Indonesia, and all that. Then Japan, Korea is just Japan and Korea, both North and South Korea. Then Southwest Pacific, you have Australia and New Zealand. Those are the countries you can find there. What are the countries you can find in Africa? You already know. Nigeria is one of them. Benin Republic, Ghana, South Africa, Namibia, Kenya, name them, so many of them in Africa. In Europe, you have the Spain, Great Britain, France, Germany, and so on, okay? In Middle East, you have the likes of UAE, that's where you have your Dubai and Abu Dhabi. You have Saudi Arabia, you have Egypt, where you have the Cairo and all that. So that's where countries you find there. In South America, you can find countries like Brazil, Argentina, Bolivia, Colombia, Paraguay, Uruguay, okay, Chile, Peru. In North America is not much. You have USA, you have Canada, you have Mexico, and then you have St. Pierre and Miquelon, okay? All right, so this other map is just showing you the different countries we have in each of these sub-areas, like I've rightly mentioned. India is in South Asian subcontinent. China is in Southeast Asia. See, they divided them. The map clearly shows it. You have the Philippines, Indonesia, and so on, the Australia, the New Zealand. This is Australia and New Zealand. You see where they are located. Very far down. It's actually one of the coldest regions we have. All right, so let's talk about global indicators. Remember the explanation I gave. So what was the essence of showing you these maps? Okay, let me bring out the first one. The first one says WH, that's the first global indicator. Western Hemisphere. What does it mean? It says when you can say your journey has a global indicator of WH when your journey is entirely within Area 1. Remember the sub-areas we have in Area 1. I just brought it out again and I showed you. This is your Area 1, where you have the Canada, the North America, the Central America, the Caribbean, and the South America. So they said for as long as you're going from, you are embarking on a journey that involves traveling entirely within Area 1. Then you can say the journey, the global indicator for that journey is WH. And these are examples I have. Okay, remember I said New York City is in US. Now I want to travel from New York City in United States to Montreal in Canada. YMQ is Montreal. Then from Montreal, Canada, I'm going to Sao Paulo, Brazil. That's one example. Another one is I'm going from Buenos Aires to Lima, from Lima to Caracas. Caracas is Venezuela, it's here. Lima is Peru, it's here. Buenos Aires is Argentina, it's also in South America. Then you have Boston. Boston is in the US. You have Las Vegas and Atlanta. These cities are all in the US. Boston, Las Vegas, Atlanta. Then you have Ottawa, Vancouver, Kingston. Ottawa and Vancouver are in Canada. Kingston is in Jamaica. Then you have Santiago in Chile, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, Miami in US, Los Angeles in US. So if the passenger gives you an itinerary and all the cities in that journey are in Area 1, then we can say that the global indicator for that journey is WH. Then we move to TC2. Then we move to TC2. We move to TC2. We move to TC2. TC2 has to do with, okay, I think I didn't mention this. TC means traffic conference. The full name is actually traffic conference area. So you see us shortening it to area or TC. The full meaning is traffic conference area 1, traffic conference area 2, traffic conference area 3. So, but you can agree with me that that is long. So we just say TC1 or area 1, TC2 or area 2, TC3 or area 3. So that's what we're doing here. So TC2 is travel wholly within area 2. Okay, remember the sub-areas in area 2 are Africa, Middle East, and Europe. So if you're going from Europe to Middle East, or Middle East to Africa, or Africa to Europe, as the case may be, for as long as in that journey, all the cities represented in that journey are all in area 2, then we can say that the global indicator for that journey is EH. For instance, you have Lagos, Abuja, Accra. They are all in Africa. You have Cape Town, Dakar, same thing. You have Dubai, Algiers, Cotonou. You have Kano, Port Harcourt, Ilorin, Owerri. You have Jeddah, Cairo, Casablanca, London. So it doesn't matter whether they are all in Africa, or they are all in Europe, or they are all in Middle East, or they are going from Europe to Middle East, or Europe to Africa, or Africa to Middle East, and so on. For as long as all the cities in that journey are in area 2, then you can say that the global indicator is EH. So that takes us to the third one, TC3. That takes us to the third one, TC3, which is travel wholly within area 3. Remember the sub-areas that make up area 3, the way you saw the map of Asia. Okay, and I said we have Southeast Asia, South Asian subcontinent, Japan, Korea, and Southwest Pacific. So for as long as the journey is entirely within that area 3, we would say the global indicator is EH. Okay, example. This passenger is going from Beijing to Hong Kong to Singapore, or from Sydney to Manila to Delhi, or from Tokyo to Jakarta to Port Moresby to Papit, or from Shanghai to Melbourne to Perth to Christchurch in New Zealand. Let me take you back. Remember this, okay? This is the map. This is area 1, area 2, and area 3. So far, we've said if you are traveling within this area 1, this is your global indicator, WH. If you are traveling within area 2, your global indicator, EH. If you are traveling within area 3, your global indicator, EH. I was actually expecting somebody to ask me, how come area 2 and area 3 have EH? Is it not a mistake? No, it is not. Why? Because the world generally is divided into 2 hemispheres, the Western Hemisphere and the Eastern Hemisphere. Okay? So the Western Hemisphere, area 1 is the only area that falls under Western Hemisphere, whereas area 2 and area 3 is under Eastern Hemisphere. Hence, that global indicator. So that's why we said a journey entirely within area 1 is WH, which is Western Hemisphere. And a journey entirely within area 2 is EH, Eastern Hemisphere. And the journey within area 3 is also EH, Eastern Hemisphere. So your questions can come this way. What is the global indicator for this journey? They give you an example. Say, what is the global indicator for this journey? New York City, Montreal, Sao Paulo. What are you expected to do? No need to cram. You know, I said, that's why I took you through that decoding unit. We said, all you need to do is decode. NYC, what does it mean? New York City. Where can I find it? United States. Where is United States? Area 1, you note it. We look for YMQ. What does, you decode YMQ, what does it mean? It means Montreal. Where is Montreal, Canada? In which area? Area 1. So take note now, you've noticed that you've decoded that NYC and YMQ are in area 1. So you look for SAO. SAO is Sao Paulo. Where is Sao Paulo in Brazil? Where is in Brazil? Where is Brazil? Area 1. So that means you've identified that all the cities on that itinerary are in area 1. Therefore, it means that the global indicator for that journey is what? WH, Western Hemisphere. That's what you do for any journey you're given. Of course, when you start, when you start newly, you'll be checking books to decode. But like I said, by the time you decode one particular city 3, 4, 5 times, you wouldn't have to check any book again, just like I'm doing. I don't need to check book to decode very simple and straightforward cities in the world or countries, because I've done it over time. I've done it over and over again, and so I'm better at it. Okay, so don't look at it as if it's one big thing or it's too difficult. No, you will always have a reference material, but by the time you do this over and over again, there will be no need to even check a reference material. All right, now that we have traveled within areas, you will agree with me that people still travel from one area to another. How? We've had cases of people traveling. Nigerians travel to the US a lot. Nigerians travel a lot. So look at this. Nigeria is in area 2, Africa. Now they are going to area 1, US. So they have moved from area 2 to area what? 1. Or Nigerians also go to China a lot. We are in area 2, Nigeria, and we are going to China in area 3. So when we are crossing from one area to another, and vice versa, what does that mean? What do we reference that? Remember I told you at the beginning when I was reading out the session objectives, I said this is just the introduction, that this global indicator especially is actually a whole day's topic. It's actually a whole day's topic. So it's not something we can finish online at all. All right, so now, what if you're traveling from one area to another? How do we go about it? It is at this particular juncture. So what if you wish to travel from one area to another? How do you beat that? What's the global indicator for that? There's so much more, so many. We can only continue that in the actual basic ticketing class that is commencing July 24th. This will just scratch the bit. You remember I said the program is a 10-day program. In there, you learn how to calculate a one-way journey. You learn how to calculate a return journey. You learn how to calculate children and infant journeys. You learn about passport, visa. Yes, we'll go into details as far as visa is concerned. How to process your visas, how to help people apply for visas and make money from it. We'll talk about health requirements like a yellow card. We'll talk about tickets, e-tickets, and all that. Okay, those are the details. We talk about the pricing structure, the consolidators, the billing and settlement plan, and all that in the ticketing class. Okay, so for the theory part, this is where I'd like to drop my pen and then entertain questions from the audience. Any question at all, it's open. The floor is open. Okay, so let me show myself again. Let me go back and stop sharing so you can see my face and also ask your questions. I need feedback. I'd really appreciate feedback from you. Okay, so while I'm waiting for my colleague who is going to take the practical aspects to come on board, I'd also want to say a few things and also get feedback from you. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any feedback at all. Are we there? I'll soon be taking my leave. So really, I would appreciate any comments at all, anything, any concerns you have, whatever challenges you have. The people that are doing this, for instance, I want to know, are you currently working? Are you interested in coming into the industry? What are the questions you have as regards this industry? Some of us have been in it long enough, and we believe we are in a better position to advise you. We also would have loved for you to invite your friends, your neighbors, your younger ones, whom you would want to even this online training was free. I mean, no knowledge is a waste. I believe that at the end of today's class, there must be something new you learned. And that should be the general target of everybody. Every day learn something new. Every day learn something new. Even if it's only Alpha, Bravo, Charlie you learned today, it's something. Nobody can take that away from you again. Because there's so much more to learn. Okay, the basic ticketing class is, type it, 65,000 naira. However, we are doing a discount if you come from this class, if you register as a result of this class, a 10% discount. And I will know because I will ask you a question. That's the code. There's no special code. If you come and say you were part of the class, I know what I said today. So I'll just ask you a simple question. If you're able to answer it, I'll know that truly you partook in this class. And so you get a 10% discount. And I'll tell you what you're getting with that amount you're paying. You get, okay, let me go back to this. Let me go back to streaming so you see what I'm saying. All right, so when you pay, you get a course manual. This is what it looks like. Okay, these are your course materials showing you details of what we have. You look at what we talked about today. This is exactly the content that is treated in class. Okay, you can see phonetic alphabets. That's what you have there. You have your notes, 3-letter city and airport codes, and so on. You have so many examples. You have anatomy of a journey, if you can see that. You can see again types of journey and so on. Okay, so this is like your course manual. You know, like I said, we just scratched this a bit. See what it looks like. Okay, so you get this course manual. This is yours. You also get a branded notepad and the pen, a branded notepad and pen. Let me show you. Sorry, I stepped out. You get a branded jotter for your classroom use. You also get a pen. That's another one. Then we provide breakfast and lunch. So when you wake up, just start coming. Have your bath and start coming now. Provide breakfast. We provide lunch. And at the end of the training, we'll still send you to Amadeus for training for the practical aspect. And it's not free. We pay Amadeus as well. It's not free. And then after that, we'll fix you up in places where you get to do IT. Now, after the IT, is a job guaranteed? I can't answer that because you have to prove yourself. You have about 3 months to be there to prove yourself. That's for the ticketing course. Okay, so if you're good, at the end of the day, I believe that if you're a good hand, no employer would want to let you go. Okay, so it's about putting your best foot forward. So basically what we're doing is we're creating a platform for you to excel. So how you choose to use that platform is up to you. Any other question? This is full. So even my colleague that is coming on board is going to be is not going to go in depth into the practical. Just tell you the basics. You see what it looks like. Tell me about it. Okay. It's screen sharing. Thank you. Not sharing. Really? Not sharing. Hmm? Not sharing. Okay, help me screen share. Okay. Not sharing. Still me? Not sharing them. Okay. Present to everyone. Screen share. Not sharing. Thank you. Hello? Sorry, please give us a few minutes. Hello?
Amadeus.